Hytale is launching into early access on January 13th, 2026. A lot has changed since the game was first announced, and if you haven't followed development closely, it's easy to have the wrong idea of what Hytale is today. This video is a clear breakdown of what you can actually expect from Hytale as it enters early access in 2026. Hytale's development hasn't followed a straight line. Over the years, the project went through delays, major refactors, a full engine rewrite attempt, and at one point was even officially cancelled before being brought back. Thank you, Simon. In just a few weeks, the Hytale team managed to merge roughly 300 branches of prototypes and modernize a 4-year-old codebase. Because of that history, the early access release is very intentional. Instead of waiting for a perfect version of the game, the team chose to get Hytale into the players' hands and start to grow it alongside its community of creators. Hypixel Studios have been very open about the current state of the game, from what content is missing to the fact that there will straight up be bugs and crashes, but this just serves as a warning. The community behind the game still truly believe in it, and I'm going to cover why, and what has changed since the original trailer 7 years ago. The bottom line is that if you are not comfortable pre-purchasing Hytale in its early access state, then don't. One of the core pillars of Hytale is, and has always been, exploration. The game takes place in a large world made up of different zones, regions and biomes, each designed to feel distinct through its atmosphere and encounters. A more linear adventure mode was initially planned for Hytale, where players would follow quest lines, complete cinematics, big dungeons and more, but the game simply does not have enough content for that right now. Instead, they built an exploration mode which simply did not exist before. As far as I'm aware, this will function more similarly to Minecraft, as it will encourage a more free, sandbox style approach. Hytale encourages curiosity. You will travel, explore and discover things naturally. In your adventures you will find outposts, ruins, dungeons and more, each with different enemies from specific factions and even some with powerful bosses. These elements are central to how Hytale wants players to experience the world. Exploration is meant to feel ongoing, and even after hours are played, the world should still surprise you with new locations and challenges. What we know so far is that Hytale has 4 confirmed zones. We have the Emerald Wilds, Howling Sands, Whisperfront Frontiers, and the Devastated Lands. Each of these zones is composed of a few regions, each with different biomes that provide varying resources and difficulty. Upon entering a new region, you'll receive a pop-up onto your HUD, which is really cool. And additionally, Simon has confirmed that after Christmas, there will be a new highly anticipated blog post on the world generation in Hytale. World Generation V2 is supposedly the cutting edge of voxel engine technology, which will provide tight controls to world generation for creators like no other. There are many planned features to improve exploration in Hytale, such as more living world features and interactions, more combat content and dungeons, finalizing World Gen V2, and the full release of the adventure mode. And don't worry, content will be rapidly flowing out over the first few months of the game's release, with the first week having a patch already. Do bear in mind though that everything good often takes time, and development can often take a lot longer than expected. But still, the biggest pillar of Hytale is creation, and what really sets Hytale apart is how deeply modding and creation tools are integrated. Hytale is centered around empowering creators to go wild and follow their imagination. The team at Hypixel have designed Hytale not only as a game, but as an entire creation platform. They have taken their knowledge from building the Hypixel Minecraft server and used Minecraft's shortcomings as a base for developing their tools. Building in Hytale goes far beyond just placing blocks. The tools are designed to let players shape environments in a much more efficient way. If any of you have used anything like World Edit in Minecraft before, then these tools may feel somewhat familiar. Hytale will also come with an in-engine asset editor, which will allow editing of most asset types, from data assets to visual effects like this portal here. On the topic of art, Hytale officially supports Blockbench for models and animations, and the recent blog post highlights the best practices and the official Hytale plugin that you should be using. Also, the team is currently working on a visual scripting system for high-level gameplay logic that designers can easily tweak, and have stated that they are moving away from Lua as they feel it is less approachable for new developers. But for the programmers watching this video, you will still be able to extend functionality of the server more deeply through server plugins as .jar files. Additionally, Hytale's source code is apparently going to be releasing 1 to 2 months after the launch. To reiterate, this isn't a situation where modding is tacked on later. The developers themselves built the game using the same tools players will have access to, because this has been at the forefront of their minds since day one. Slikey, the technical director of Hytale, said that they want to make it about taking Hytale and making your tale. If all this wasn't good enough, there are even machinima tools included too, meaning creators can script camera movements, cutscenes, and events directly in engine. These are still a work in progress, but I'm so excited to see when we will get the first Hytale film. And importantly, the team has been open about creator monetization. Servers and creators are expected to be able to build sustainable projects on top of Hytale, as once again, from their experience with the Hypixel Minecraft server, they understand that creators need a way to support themselves. Simon has even said that Hytale will take 0% from modders and server owners for the first 2 years at least, which is hugely generous and great news for anyone looking to develop something on Hytale. But if there's one thing to take away from this video, it's this. Hytale is launching in early access, and the developers have been very clear about what that means. Simon stated in the early access post that if you don't feel comfortable pre-ordering, please don't. This is true early access, meaning it's still very much unfinished and will be buggy for a while, but you have my and the team's full commitment to make Hytale the game we've always wanted it to be. Simon also stated separately that for us, success in early access looks like this. You start a world, and the first impression and immersion leave you thinking, this is a much better game than they said, but after some more time, you'll start to see the rough edges and end up thinking, this game has a lot of potential, I'll come back and keep up with the updates. Or get you inspired to making your own maps, content, mods, or minigame server. They have openly stated that specific features like pets, taming, fishing, and proximity voice chat are all not ready yet, but again are all intended for future updates. And importantly, the Hytale minigame server network will also not be ready for launch. I'm a little disappointed by that one. Just to reiterate again, Simon stated that he means it when he says Hytale is not good enough, and that the game is going to be okay for its release, but it's going to be a challenge for them to get it to a state that they want. So essentially, if you go in expecting a flawless experience, you're going to be disappointed. They really want their players to understand the crazy journey this game has been on, and honestly, it has been through a lot, and the only thing saving it was pure passion. The team are really striving to make this game the best that it can be, and Simon tweeted again that he really cares and understands the situation, and he will do everything in his power to get the community what they want and deserve, no matter how long it takes. One thing that did cause backlash though is their decision to release Hytale through their own launcher instead of on Steam. A lot of people said this is because they wanted to avoid negative Steam reviews, and to an extent they are correct, but that is not the full story. They stated in a recent FAQ blog post that they did this to specifically avoid players judging the game without knowing the full context behind it. They're not afraid of negative criticism and have been critical of the game's state themselves. The other reason is because Steam currently doesn't support some of the game's modding features, and as we know, that is a very important part to Hytale, but they have said themselves in the same post that they will be in contact with Valve in the near future to see what's possible, so who knows? Will we see a full release after early access on Steam? Who knows? Either way, if you're looking to play the game, you'll likely want to know if you can run it. The recommended requirements were released for Hytale, and they are pretty reasonable. Most computers from 2015 onwards could run this with no issues. I've put these on the screen, but if you want a more detailed breakdown, you can check out the blog post on the Hytale website. It is important to note that Hytale will be releasing on PC only at first, with the rest coming later on. With that context in mind, let's talk about combat, because it's a good example of how systems are already in place even if they're not final yet. Combat in Hytale has evolved significantly and is certainly more advanced than in Minecraft. Hytale's combat is more responsive and more intentional, and at the heart of it is which weapon your avatar carries. The weapons you carry form your combat playstyle, providing you with a set of abilities specific to that weapon type. Some favour speed, some offense, and others defense, but ultimately this gives the game a real depth to combat which I am personally very excited for. I can't wait to try these out against both mobs and other players. The clips of the combat so far have looked really satisfying and impactful, and I know that the community are going to create some insane mods for the combat which I'll be so interested to see. That said, combat isn't the main attraction. It exists to support exploration, dungeons and boss encounters, not to turn Hytale into a pure action game, but I can certainly see the PvP servers going absolutely crazy with this one. Ultimately, Hytale will look similar to the trailer, but also quite different, and to what extent of content is fully missing yet is yet to find out. After years of experimentation and technical changes, the team chose to prioritize a version of the game that could actually be released and built upon. That's why early access is happening now, even if it means that releasing with less content than they intended. Either way, I know I'm very hyped for it and have already pre-purchased the game. To wrap up, Hytale in 2026 is for players who enjoy exploring, building and creating in a world that will improve over time. And it's also for those intending to create some awesome mods or run their own server. If you want a fully finished experience or have concerns, it's okay to wait. But if you want to be part of shaping a game's future, this is exactly what Hytale is aiming for. Hytale is finally here, and I'm going to be covering it properly throughout 2026. I'd love to know what you guys think of the Hytale launch and what you're most excited to create once you get your hands on it.